marketers, marketing executives. It's so great to have you, both in the in-person event here in Mexico City, as well as our virtual audience. We have marketers and marketing service providers logging in from all over the Americas. Thank you again so much. We have these half-annual meetings where we share knowledge and also provide networking opportunities to the brand marketing community. We have an amazing agenda today. I want to quickly show you why I think we really have the cream of the cream of the marketing sector in the Americas here today. First, we'll work on innovative approaches on consumer journey advertising with our partner Acuity Ads and a senior executive from Henkel. Consumer journey advertising has become even more important with all the changes in consumer media and other behavior due to technology adoption. Then we'll have a CMO panel, opportunities and challenges for marketing in Mexico in 2023 and beyond. We'll have no less than 3 major marketing executives from Unilever, BBA Mexico, and Claudia Contreras from Samsung may come into the room, but she just told us that she won't be, is unlikely going to be participating in the session. But representing the retail sector, we have Ana Michelle Moncayo, Senior Brand Marketing Manager at Suburbia Mexico, who has a lot of experience in retail, and of course now with the clothing retailer Suburbia Mexico. Then we'll have our virtual one-on-one meetings, our virtual audience, and here we'll be eating our VIP lunch in person here. That then is going to be followed by another very relevant and critical topic, which is how to use the amazing amount of data and confusing amount of data to deliver real-world outcomes. There will be 3 experts talking about that. And finally, we'll talk about MarTech. MarTech is this buzzword, but it really has transformed the marketing discipline over the last 10, 15 years, and we'll be looking at this in an innovative way. We'll have senior marketers looking at the skills that are needed, how to measure ROI on MarTech, what's the difference, where MarTech is based in the advertising ecosystem, at the agency, at the client, versus AdTech, and some other very interesting topics. Then we'll move again to a quick coffee break. We'll have virtual one-on-one meetings for the virtual audience. These meetings are between fellow brand marketers to share experiences, and also between brand marketers and marketing service providers. So our partners can speak to marketers who attend the event virtually. In person, we'll have 6 different topics to delve deep into, from e-commerce marketing to sponsorship marketing, connected TV, influencer, brand building. Okay. I do want to thank my team, led by Irma Gutierrez, Celeste Martorana, Luisa Cárdenas, and Anaid Muñoz. It's a tremendous amount of work. We prepare these events many months in advance. They're very carefully curated to make sure that you guys get the most out of it. We are in great company. With our partners, Taboola, Teats, Comscore, Illumin powered by Acuity Ads, MyCode, Numatech, Entravision, Shutterstock, and Pluto TV. Thank you so much for supporting the event, and we're here to help. A very important component of PortadaLive is the knowledge sharing and the participation. We like to say that our attendees are participants. Because you guys bring so much intelligence to the table, right? And it's all about sharing this in a relatively informal atmosphere. So we asked the virtual attendees to provide information or ask questions via the Caster chat. And the in-person attendees, you have a QR code, which you can see. You just go there and ask the question or share from your experience. And now I'm thrilled to introduce you to Serach Barbani, who is the Chief Strategy Officer at Acuity Ads. We've been working with Illumine and Acuity Ads for, I think, like maybe 10 years. Yes. We have seen the company flourishing. It's now a publicly quoted company based in Toronto. Serach has a very interesting multicultural background, which I think is very nurturing to the marketing sector. He just also wrote an article in the Journal of Brand Strategy. And Serach, it's all yours.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, appreciate it. So Mike, come on over. So we're going to manage this in 2 stages here, just so you know. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here. You're such a great audience. I've got an opportunity to meet some of you already. Marcos, you've been such an advocate for us all these years. I can't thank you enough for everything you've done for us. So we've come a long way on that. Generally, a lot of our events that we do with you are in the US. This one is a special one for us because we rarely come here to Mexico. We have a local team here, of course. I have with me, it's going to be 2 people. First is Mike. So, Mike, you want to just quickly introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Mike Stanzik, Vice President. Mike Stanzik, Vice President of Platform Adoption here at Illumine. So nice to meet you.
And shortly, in the next few minutes, after we've actually gone through this intro, I'm going to be inviting Ricardo up here on stage, who's been our client on the adoption of this thing, and you'll get an idea as to why he's here and what he's going to talk about. But let's start with what we have in mind, Mike. This is something that's fundamental. It's something that we've been thinking about for years. It's tied up with my own history of a professional work that I've done in the past 28 years, multiple company acquisitions that I've gone through that have all aggregated into the culmination of what we have to show you today. It's $100 million of public money that we have invested to create a platform, but we're not going to go there right now. Right now, the discussion is, what is it that the market has been looking for? And you are the best judge of that as marketers. So let's go there. A picture is worth literally 60,000 words. I didn't come up with this. Extensive amount of research has already happened over the past decades that has reached this conclusion. This one conclusion has massive ramifications for a ton of things which we're going to talk about in just 5 minutes. So hang tight. So what does that mean? Let's go. The human mind processes visual imagery, blocks, and connections between blocks significantly faster than it does words, lines, or text. For example, this is Mona Lisa in text. You can absorb that in a single artwork when you look at it, and it drives all the emotions and thinking that you go through. And today, it may be just an emoji. And that says everything. This is how fast the mind processes information, right? What does that have to do with all of this? Human adoption of anything is significantly amplified by just that one conclusion of how fast the human mind processes info. Go. As an example, only 60 million people adopted this particular operating system, which was all text and lines. For those of you who were around at that time, this was called the DOS operating system, right? When it converted into simple blocks, windows, and images, all of a sudden, over 1 billion people adopted this thing. Go further. 85 million people at its peak adopted the BlackBerry system, that little device. We loved the tactile feel into this thing, right? Introduced the blocks and the imagery into this thing, and all of a sudden, over 1 billion people adopted. You following where I'm going with this thing, right? Okay, let's go further. Same thing happens. This same behavior transforms industries. Like what? This is the all-powerful Sabre reservation system from the 1980s. Blue screens and a bunch of lines. What did this have? It had every possible way of booking a hotel room, a concert ticket, or a seat on an airline, all hidden behind the massive transaction power play with all the inventory that was booked inside. But the trick was you needed experts who could actually go look into this thing, consult with you, and book something for you to make any sense out of it. Nobody else at our level understood what was going on behind the scenes, right? For those of you who were around, again, today, this is what we do. Just about everybody uses this, right? Completely democratized. Do you want to guess how many people do book their own travel, their own hotel, their own tickets, their own things? Anybody have a wild guess? What percentage of the people do this thing themselves? 70? Wow. You said the same? 70? Wow. Go ahead. You were right on. My goodness, that's very close. Yes, this is last year. 78% of the people booked their own thing, right? Okay. Some of you might think, isn't this all history? Why are we revisiting history? We are done. We've moved on. We are into the electronic media. We all interact with it now. Not so fast. Think again. This is the world we live in marketing today. You should feel fortunate that we are time traveling to the 1980s in digital marketing today. It's the world of everything gets black boxed nicely behind the scenes. You have no clue what the hell is happening behind the scenes. Who works with this thing? It's the high-powered, high-priced traders who understand the arcane language of digital transactional marketing. Not only that, we are fortunate to have tons of boxes now. All sorts of favorite walled gardens exist at this point, who box up this whole thing within their own sphere. It is absolutely horrendous. And what is behind those boxes? What's really going on in those line items? These are human attention spans being traded in fractions of seconds. 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 30 seconds, here, there. What's the difference? That's also inventory, like the same inventory of the hotels and travel bookings and you name it. Except it's hundreds of billions of these being traded every single day. You have no way of knowing what's going on, right? Okay. How do you think the world is going to evolve? Tell me. Where do you think this world of line items and black boxes, given where history has been, will evolve next? Where do you think it's going to go? There is a clue. You all have it. You see that little image up there? This is how marketers plan. The mind still works with blocks, images, connections. We go into whiteboards and we label it all. We put post-it notes, we remove it, we scratch it, we cancel, we move. This is how we plan. This is how the human mind likes to process. That's the marketer's mind. How do you take that and translate that into executing in a way that ultimately it actually makes sense how marketing actually works? So go further. This is how we work in marketing. We lay stuff out, we connect it, we move it, we change it, we like it flexible. This is how we move things. Okay, so Mike, as you know now, you've seen it. This is how marketers like to think. That's not the way the world executes things.
Correct.
What exactly is possible today if we wanted to make things as we like to think about marketing?
I would love to show you what is possible.
Show
Raj.
us.
Let's show you. All right. So what you see before you is what the world of advertising could be. If we were to take this screen right here, this is your whiteboard. Instead of whiteboarding across a screen with Post-its and writing, it's now transformed into a digital canvas. So all of your audiences are right here. Your different stages of the funnel can live on this digital whiteboard.
Hold that right there. As you know, marketing all begins and ends with audience, right? We all start there, that's where we end. That's what we are trying to track. Where are they? How do we find them? What do we show them? What do we tell them? How do we tell them in what sequence? All of these things we want to know. This is all of the audience that are there. Pick anything, just set it up.
Pick any audience, and now translate that audience onto the whiteboard. Take multiple audiences and drag those in to your awareness campaign, and now these are ready for targeting. So we have our audiences, just the way we all think. Now we need our assets.
Where do you want to go? Where do you take them? Which channels do you find them on? What kind of creative you want to show them? Throw it all up there.
So let's take display. Let's take connected TV. We can throw these items and these creative channels up onto the canvas and map them to this audience. Again, the way that marketers and brands think can be translated to the canvas.
Right there. Think of you as you. We are actually planning a campaign right now. He's putting it up there. You're thinking. Show me, what creatives can I find? Show me the creative library.
Any creative that you have via display, video, connected TV can be taken from your library and immediately translated to the canvas. From there, we can say,
okay, good. Let me add to that. Once you have all your creative, what do you want to know? What do you want to do? How many times can I reach these people? Right? Go ahead. Put some limits on that.
Absolutely. You have a condition set. What is it going to take for a user to be aware? How many times do they need to see our display ad? Could be 10. How many times do they need to see our connected TV ad? Could be 5. You set the limits that you want in place, and we can build this journey just as easy as this. This is what a digital media campaign can look like.
On the fly, right there, when you're in the room planning. I remember the days when I used to be on the 54th floor of American Express, sitting there with 22 people in the room, trying to plan out the launch of the blue card. That's how we planned. We plastered the entire 4 walls with where the consumer is, where do we find them, what's the message, what's the next logical thing, how do we persuade them, what's the classic proposition, where's the whole call to action. That's what we were thinking. You build this thing live with me. Mike, now, next, right? What is it that a journey would look like when you have covered all touch points across the board?
So if we look at what an expansive journey could look like.
What is this brand?
This brand is Home Depot.
We picked Home Depot because Home Depot is right here in Mexico. So we just picked that.
So what you can take are all the audiences that you may want to reach within the awareness stage, target those users with video ads, connected TV ads, upper funnel awareness ads, instantly transition those users to the next stage of the funnel, where we've got different messaging, trying to get them to engage, to come to the site, ultimately pathing those same users to the conversion stage. And we can control how audiences are moving through this. We control which creatives they see and what it's going to take to move them through. So that on one singular screen, you have your entire media campaign that would look something like that.
Mike, so here it is. You can put 99 to hundreds of creatives all across the board in here. Test anytime. You talk about A/B testing? No, no, no. Test across the board, everywhere, all touch points. Whole bunch of creatives in here, as you like it, how you like it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The fundamental biggest questions for marketers in the 28 years that I've spent is, what is the ideal path? What's the optimal path? What's the right combination of creatives, frequencies, channels, sequence through which I go? What messages, right? How do you establish that? Because at American Express, it took me 5 analytics people over 7 to 8 weeks before I could give you directional information on the programs that I had run for 10 weeks. At Digitas, I had 165 analytics people whose job was simply to do what we called spreadsheet engineering. Show us, Mike, what we can do in 60 seconds.
Let me show you, Suraj, what that 9 weeks of work looks like by 4 analysts. In real time, I can solve that question for you with a click of a button. This is now the path, the best path through conversion. Answering frequency, answering creative channel, answering what is the best tactic. This is what can be solved today.
We can stop right here. You don't need to know anything more than that. This is the world of what we introduced called journey advertising. It's a category we've established, and we believe this will be the future of how marketers will engage with their consumers in real time, in their marketing, in their offices, wherever they are, as things are happening. And they'll optimize. There's tons of other things to really talk about that Mike can talk about, but what you really need to know is, who is using it? Right here in Mexico. Ricardo, let's come on board. So nice. Mike, would you mind giving your mic to him?
Thank you.
All right, sit down.
Perfect. Hi everyone, my name is Ricardo, and I'm a CX professional lead in charge of ecosystems inside of Henkel for Latin America.
So glad you were able to make it. I know you were in Germany all of last week.
Yes.
As you all know, Henkel is a German company, through and through. But I'm so glad we've had a chance to interact with you. I got to know Ricardo really well. How so? It's because Wandy and the team that we have over here have actually worked with him for a while, but he was on stage with me at Adweek Latam, right here in Mexico.
Correct.
And we got a lot of chance to really meet together, talk over dinner and so forth. And I got to really understand what his vision was and what he's trying to do at Henkel. And I said, my God, Ricardo, I just wish most of our clients were like you. Tell us more, Ricardo.
Sure. I mean, I appreciate
What
being here.
what has been your experience overall in the way you've done digital marketing, how it has come along, because this is not the first time. You've been at it for years.
Yes, that's right.
How do you see it? Where do you see it going? We have this vision up there. You've had some experience with it. What can you say about it? Where are we going as marketing?
Well, I mean, I think there's a lot of information out there, right? There's a lot of data, a lot of platforms, and there's a lot of things that we can grab and pull together to literally try to do the best we can as marketers and digital marketers to really send the right message to the right audience, right? So I think right now it's taking like a break, we could say like this, take a step back, think on what your consumer is like, what is that target persona? What are their pain points? What are their relief points? What are their objectives, their aspirations as well? Because I think there's a lot of information out there that we receive constantly in this digital world that sometimes we don't process all that information, right? So we need to be relevant with our consumers. We need to really know our audience, really need to know what they want to hear and how we're supposed to give it to them, and what are those digital points where there are.
Now, how hard or easy has it been for you to do that so far, though?
Well, I mean, it's not an easy task. It's not an easy task, but there's tools that help you do it, right? And I think it's how I said, you need to stop, think as your audience, and start analyzing and doing research, right? What is my perfect audience? What is my potential audience? What are their interests? Where are they normally navigating? What is their journey? How do they like to be contacted? You know, and it's all about testing, trying, not being scared. I think that's the most important part. Just go out there, see what works and what doesn't work.
In the past year plus, whatever time you've actually used, experiences like this, interfaces like this, what and how has life changed for you?
Well, it's been really amazing in this sense, because at the end, I'm able to process or have everything that I have in my mind and just plan it inside a platform. It's easier to create different types of journeys, which is also really, really helpful at the end. It's been helping us really to test different types of assets, and really identify what's the winning part, or the winning journey, if we can say it like that, right? So at the end, it's been really supportive, this platform, because it helps us really create all the journeys that we need to create and start testing and learning, and for us, it's how I said it. I'm not a big fan of sending a general message to everyone. At the end, I think right now there's a lot of information out there that we need to understand how they want to receive that information, and we have to understand that you can't send the same message to everyone. So you need to create different types of audiences, and if you have a master graphic campaign, just try to that same message, try just to level it up to your different audiences, because at the end, they don't want to hear it the same way as everybody wants to hear it. Everybody has their way of taking information and really create this big impact.
Yeah. So clearly the people on virtual are also involved, or some of you are actually sending questions over here. Ricardo, you don't mind if we take questions,
No.
right? Okay, so let's make it more interactive, guys, give it to him. Here? Okay. So I'm getting old, as you can see.
Ethel Gonzalez from 3M asks, which is the platform you're using for the journey? I think that's pretty... It's a good question, Siraj, right?
Well, Marcos has been very, very, very careful with me from the very beginning when we started working with him. Ricardo, if you don't mind.
Yes.
He said, don't ever sell anything to my Portada audience. Don't ever talk about your brand. But if you ask the question, then we have to answer that question, right? So I'm not giving you a commercial message here. But yes, go ahead, Ricardo.
It's Illumin.
Yeah, so Illumin is the platform that Mike was actually describing behind the scenes. We are not full of ourselves. We don't believe that we have monopoly on the world's ideas. That's the way we imagined it would have to be, and therefore, that's your experience and what it is, right?
Definitely. I mean, and it's a support, it's a software, but you also have to have the right people, the right knowledge to really be able to transfer that, from your head and apply it.
Exactly, and this is very important. I mean, he said something really profound at this point. I hope we got it here. Because as much of there is so much AI and so much algorithm that is in this platform, ultimately, it's the human and the machine interaction that's key here. There is no autopilot. If somebody promises to you, don't believe it. There is no autopilot. You need to have humans actually guiding these types of platforms to get the most out of it, right?
Definitely, because it's a combination of minds.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in line with that, thank you, Siraj. In line with that, Eduardo Marin from Scotiabank, who leads experiential marketing and sponsorships there, he has a question, talking about humans, talking about artificial intelligence. What role do you see in this process for artificial intelligence? That's his question.
I can take it. Yes. So there are a variety of things that are going on. Some are classic, well understood. For those of you who understand digital advertising, tech transactions, programmatic, there are all different names for the same idea, which is, number one, understanding the audiences. Number two, the biggest use of AI in this type of journey, type of articulation is based on human behavior and interaction with different touch points. The segments are being created on the fly. Dynamic segmentations are being created and pooled for future communication, what the next logical message is. That's where the AI is going. But please stretch your imagination. What else do you think is going to happen later this year with this platform? What's the most obvious thing that's staring at you right now? The creative. Build the Anthem creative and use generative AI to create the full suite of journey renditions that you can pressure test on the fly in real time. We are building that right now. Why did we decide to build this? It's because clients constantly come to us and say, I just don't have a lot of creative. Where do I find all the creative? I love the idea of journey. I love this level of articulation. I love the things I can learn. But don't I need a lot of creative for this? And that's the problem that generative AI will pretty much ultimately solve for you. Is that going to remove the need for creative agencies and the creative talent? The answer is overwhelmingly no. It will need that creative talent. Somebody has to create that articulation of what the brand is. I was talking with Enrique earlier. It's like the core essence of the brand and the trust it's trying to develop is not something that the machine is going to come up with. The humans talking to humans are going to have to create that. And from there, you can create variations on that theme and have the human test it if it makes sense, and then you populate it there, right? And so yes, there are a bunch of things to answer that question. AI is written all over the place. But again, respecting the talent and the people who contribute to make these things really work ultimately.
Yep.
Yeah, do you agree?
No, completely agree. We're actually right now running a pilot with ChatGPT to create content for SEO. Right? So obviously you just can't leave it to the machine. You have to also be on track and be checking all the content. But I mean, it works somehow. You know, we're trying to lower down our cost, be more agile, and create content. But at the end, you still need people to check that content, and it's not just like the machine. No?
It's a partnership. Anything else? Okay. Anybody else have any burning questions? Because I'm done. Enrique, do you have any questions?
Well, yes.
There you go. No, keep it with you.
Right. Thank you. The model is very interesting. So my question would be, would it be a model that is being used mostly by clients that have an internal agency, or both?
Both.
And if so, I imagine the interaction would be interesting. Would you care to expand on that?
Absolutely. No, that's such a core question, guys, because whenever we are having planning sessions for introducing this thing and engaging it, there are clients who say, yes, I want to expose all of my team, and in the next sentence they say, is it okay if I bring my agency into the room? Smart move, because it's a partnership. They are just as much a partner in this whole evolution because they think journey plans too, in the way they drive media, in the way your design teams work, you were talking about the whole design lifestyle and whatnot, right? So I think it's very, very important to incorporate and engage as many people who touch the customer or think about the customer or have a reason to think like what the consumer's mind is about and where they are, and you want to make sure that all of them participate together. The intention of a platform like this is to be multidimensional, cross-functional. And that's the way we should be thinking about it. Did I address that?
Yes.
Excellent. Good. Anybody else? No? Are we good? You want to finish it off?
No, no, no. You just did. Sarah, thank you so much, and also Ricardo.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure. Appreciate it.
And
Michael?
and Michael, thank you. Any additional questions? We have some more on the chat. We'll be asking the speakers to answer them through email, and we'll be including this in the recap. We'll be sending you after you fill out a survey we'd like you to fill out. We'll be sending you an exclusive recap and include the additional questions. We'll be sending you and those answers. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And so now we have another highlight, and it's the CMO panel. For that, we have Carlos Sosa, Senior Director, Ad Sales and Digital at Paramount, who will be introducing the session. Carlos is also going to speak about something very important. This is about the session is on opportunities and challenges for marketing in Mexico in 2023 and beyond. And Carlos represents a company that is a major player in the CTV space. And as we know, CTV is having a huge impact on media consumption, on the way brands can reach out to different consumers and target them. So Carlos is going to make a quick intro about that and then introduce the remaining panelists. As we know, Ana Michelle Moncayo from Suburbia is going to be joining us instead of Claudio Contreras, who I hope will be seeing soon. And this session, excuse me, will be held in Spanish, porque estamos en México, ¿no? Entonces, lo haremos en español and then we'll switch back to English. Sorry for our US audience and maybe some Brazilians, but they speak portuñol. Okay.
Seguro entenderán. Hola, ¿cómo están? Me da un gusto estar aquí con ustedes. Yo creo que, si se puede, me gustaría que ya pasáramos todos, porque justamente la introducción pues va sobre la presentación de mis panelistas. Así que si quieren pasar, por favor, Moni, Enrique, Eduardo. Y voy platicando un poquito porque precisamente, bueno, primero que nada, gracias por la invitación. Es un placer estar aquí y un honor estar con estas personalidades del marketing. La verdad es que se aprende mucho y se les admira. Y también, bueno, no nos habíamos visto en persona, pero me gustó. Pero sí en sesión y nos preparamos. Y precisamente, pues también hay que dar gracias porque pues estamos aquí, ¿no? Después de lo que hemos vivido estos años, estamos vivitos y coleando, y ahí es donde yo quiero iniciar, ¿no? El aprendizaje que tuvimos estos 3 años ya sobre lo que vivimos y estar aquí presentes, pues nos da y nos abre la oportunidad de hablar de ciertos puntos importantes. Y uno de ellos es, este mundo cambió, ya es diferente. Y el que no lo entienda, pues está completamente rezagado o out. Y el que sí, pues es precisamente subirnos a ese tren de este cambio y transformación. Y bueno, aquí hay diferentes industrias, ¿no? Moni de retail, Eduardo de… Ay, perdóname, discúlpame, Mitch. Eduardo de retail y Enrique de finanzas banca. Industrias completamente diferentes. Bueno, y yo represento una industria de entretenimiento. El consumidor cambió. La audiencia, usuario, cuentaviente, como le quisiéramos llamar, cambió. Y es precisamente el reto que tenemos nosotros, y lo que comentaban anteriormente en la sesión de innovación, es cómo dirigirnos a esas nuevas audiencias o a esas audiencias que ni siquiera son nuevas. Cómo captar esos nuevos clientes, cómo hablarles. Y siempre escuchamos estos términos, y más en los que estamos en marketing, que es enganchar, fidelizar, captar, retener, etcétera. Y les platico un poco desde mi trinchera. Cada uno de ellos, pues bueno, hablará de su trinchera, pero yo quiero hablar de la mía para precisamente dar pie a lo demás. En entretenimiento, pues se transformó tal cual el consumo de los contenidos. Paramount o Pluto, pues la prioridad es el streaming hoy en día, es el negocio más fuerte y al que estamos enfocados. ¿Qué está sucediendo en el streaming? Es precisamente cómo enganchar al consumidor y retenerlo. Ese es el reto de las compañías de streaming. ¿Cómo lo retienes? Pues hay varias estrategias, contenido, y yo les podría contar un montón de más, pero precisamente la clave es esa. ¿Qué está sucediendo? Que los retos son importantes y la retención no está siendo tan fiel o tan fuerte. Imagínense, bueno, yo creo que lo saben y quien es amante del fútbol, yo no lo era, pero me he hecho y he aprendido del soccer, pero ¿quién se imaginaba ver partidos? Y ya lo estamos viendo, ahorita está la Champions, bueno, acá en Paramount está la Liga Premier, por streaming, ¿no? Ya hay partidos gratuitos y no gratuitos. Pluto TV es el streaming gratuito y Paramount Plus es el streaming de paga. Pero ¿quién se iba a imaginar que esos partidos o los deportes ya no los íbamos a ver por la televisión abierta o la televisión de paga? Ya es un servicio de streaming que tiene un catálogo inmenso, ¿no?, de contenido, pero aparte, deportes. Que el consumo de deportes pues ha cambiado también. Entonces, ahí quiero entrar un poco, porque precisamente lo comentaba Seraj, hay una tendencia clave hoy en día en México que es CTV. Hay 35 millones de mexicanos que están ahí, que están consumiendo contenido. Pluto está en la parte de gratuito. ¿Y por qué es gratuito? Porque depende de estos anunciantes para precisamente tener un esquema de revenue y dar contenido hacia las audiencias. ¿Cuál es el reto? Eso es lo que yo les quiero preguntar y con eso quiero empezar. ¿Qué ven ustedes desde su trinchera, desde su industria, como reto en estas nuevas tecnologías? ¿Quieres empezar, Mitch?
Bueno, pues primero muchas gracias por el espacio. Definitivamente creo que pues ahorita justo lo que plantean y también de pronto lo que ya abordaban los panelistas anteriores, creo que de pronto parece que son estos conceptos en donde parece que son los mismos conceptos a través de los años, ¿no? Sin embargo, tenemos que tener en cuenta que nuestros consumidores han cambiado a lo largo del tiempo, como ya bien lo decían. En realidad, hoy por hoy tuvimos un hito muy importante como lo fue la pandemia. Sin embargo, el consumidor viene evolucionando de manera importante a través de los años y obviamente con este auge de las tecnologías, de las redes sociales, de las diferentes plataformas, y justo tenemos que ir pues personalizando cada vez los mensajes, cada vez más. Creo que de pronto en esta era en donde vivimos cada vez está mucho más democratizado también toda la parte de marketing. De pronto hay estudios por ahí que nos dice Google, ¿no?, que toda la parte también creativa tiene que ver con incluso con el tipo de device, ¿no? De pronto si lo ves la parte creativa en medios más offline, tiene un impacto en toda la parte del ROI de un 50%, por ejemplo, pero en los medios pues tal vez más digitales la relevancia de esta pues sí, de abordar de manera diferente para cada audiencia pues los productos que estamos vendiendo, los servicios, se vuelve mucho más relevante. O sea, de pronto en la parte digital, a lo mejor la parte creativa tiene que ver más con un 80-90% de lo que estamos viendo en los resultados, tanto en las formas de compra, tanto el engagement, etcétera. Entonces, me parece que eso es súper importante, de pronto entender que si bien tenemos core targets para diferentes productos o servicios que vendemos, hay que entender de pronto esas diferencias, ¿no? Esas diferencias de que incluso el mismo consumidor no es el mismo que veíamos hace algunos años y justo cómo ha venido evolucionando y cómo va a seguir evolucionando en el futuro, ¿no?
Creo que tocaste un punto clave que es la personalización. ¿Tú qué opinas?
¿De personalización? ¿No? No, yo tomo algo que dijiste, Mitch, en 2020, ¿no? Y nos remontamos hace 3 años cuando estábamos en la pandemia. Ahorita ya nos sentimos un poquito más libres, pero hubo varias tendencias, ¿no? Pero yo voy a resumir 4 tendencias que vimos en el mundo de alimentos, ¿no?, que hicieron un cambio drástico en cómo los consumidores se acercaban a la categoría. El primero y más importante es que cocinar se volvió tendencia, se volvió cool, está de moda, ya no era una obligación, ¿no?, como veíamos en los años 80s o 70s, que era la mamá, ¿no?, tratando de dar esa comida a sus seres queridos, ¿no? Hoy vemos de que inclusive concursos de cocina como MasterChef, el chef Ramsay, ¿no? Empezaron a haber muchos programas, muchas acciones donde pusieron cocinar en casa de moda. La segunda tendencia fue vida saludable. Hubo un cambio en el consumidor de buscar la alimentación como una parte de cuidarme ante las posibles enfermedades que podían tener. Entonces, comidas como a base de plantas, fortificación, era qué puedo consumir, la comida balanceada, para yo estar protegido y prepararme ante posibles futuras o pandemias donde yo esté con mi cuerpo saludable. La tercera es el respeto al medio ambiente, ¿no? Y cómo poder hacer negocios con ética, ¿no? Empezaron a preocuparse más por el planeta, cómo estamos construyendo, cómo se está cosechando, cómo estamos salvando la tierra, conceptos como agricultura regenerativa, ingredientes sustentables, deforestation free, ¿no? Son temas que empezaron a brincar mucho más, ¿no? Y por último, ¿no? y contesto tu pregunta, todo lo que es social media e e-commerce. Es importante, ¿no? Este cambio, ¿no? De donde la gente se inspira, ¿no? Para saber y poder cocinar los platillos que les guste. Antes era una tradición, ¿no? La receta de la abuela pasaba a la mamá y después la receta de la mamá pasaba a la hija. Hoy, desde hace 10 años, se rompió. Ya la mamá, ¿no? Ya no pasa la receta a la hija, no porque no quiera, no, porque ya es una señora, una persona que trabaja, que está activa y que realmente dejó atrás la cocina. Entonces, si tú les preguntas hoy a los consumidores centennials, millennials, ¿cómo se inspiran para cocinar? Utilizan el digital media, el search, ¿no? De repente quiero hacer un arroz, buscan arroz rojo o enchiladas. Y a través del search, las recetas más votadas, las recetas más comentadas, es lo que usan como base para la preparación. Entonces es importante, ¿no? Nosotros en Unilever, con la industria de alimentos, que si tú no estás en ese punto y si no es la mamá que antes decía Nor Suiza es el secreto del sabor, si no estás en el momento, ¿no? Donde y que chille o aquí salvéis, si tú no estás en esos momentos, es muy difícil que te vuelvan a adoptar, ¿no? Entonces hay un cambio, un paradigma de cómo pasas esa tradición culinaria mexicana a una modernización en platillos más saludables y en un contenido que sea relevante para que se va a enfrentar a la cocina, porque hoy ya lo hace por gusto, porque está de moda y siempre con un toque emocional de que quiero apapachar, quiero consentir a los que estoy invitando a cenar a mi casa o a quien les estoy dando el alimento.
Tocaste un gran punto, Eduardo, y creo que ese es el valor, y voy juntando, ¿no? Lo de Mitch y contigo, el vivir el momento, ¿no? La experiencia que puede causar cualquier alimento o cómo lo preparas, vivirlo y obviamente saber que estás viviendo una experiencia. La youtuber que más creció en México es una cocinera, ¿no? Y da recetas y eso es increíble, eso no pasaba antes, ¿no? Y creo que ese momento de la cocina y de la alimentación, obviamente que vivimos pues, temas de salud, pues uno quiere una vida saludable y va para allá, ¿no? Creo que es un hábito constante hoy en día y que también las nuevas generaciones están adoptando. Enrique, ¿tú qué opinas?
Primero, gracias por la invitación y qué padre estar aquí con ustedes. A ver, la parte de Connected TV, un poquito yéndome a ese tema, actualmente nosotros lo usamos mayormente en la parte de arriba del fondo, ¿no? Y eso tiene que ver, pues somos un banco. Entonces, nos encantaría poder utilizar más conectividad con este tipo de plataformas. ¿Y a qué me refiero con esto? El uso de base de datos. Evidentemente somos un banco y cuidamos la información de nuestros clientes, es nuestra principal prioridad, pero también buscamos vender. Todos los que estamos aquí buscamos vender. Y entonces el poder nosotros conectar de manera más eficiente con estas plataformas es clave. Hoy no estamos ahí. Probablemente sea algo que tenemos que trabajar ambas partes, ¿no? Nosotros conectando, cuidando esta confidencialidad y también buscando a las personas que queremos buscar, ¿no? Y con esto trato de atar un poco más el tema del reto y con lo que han comentado Michelle y Eduardo. se trata de estar en los momentos de vida clave, no tanto por las audiencias, sino estar presente en los momentos donde somos relevantes o tratamos de ser relevantes. Combinado eso con probablemente la temporalidad del año, ¿no? Yo creo que ahí es donde está la clave, es donde estamos tratando de trabajar con estas plataformas, bajar un poco más hacia la parte de abajo del funnel, ¿no? Para generar esta transaccionalidad. Yo creo que está teniendo un rol importante y el consumo de los medios sin duda ha cambiado y lo que buscamos es estar donde it really matters, ¿no? Entonces sí estamos en constante búsqueda de eso, probando, también se trata de probar, porque están surgiendo nuevas tecnologías, porque están surgiendo nuevos canales, nuevas formas de consumirlo, inclusive, ¿no? Entonces, un poco es lo que estamos cuidando, ¿no? De este lado.
Muy bien, ahí tocaste un punto relevante, bueno, varios, pero el que más me quedo es cómo pasas también abajo, no solamente arriba del funnel, sino también abajo y lo vuelves transaccional. A veces se nos olvida que pues muchas veces vivimos en el reto de la transaccionalidad y cómo lograr la conversión, pero hay más cosas que aportan a esa conversión. Y ahí va mi pregunta también para ti. Tú como responsable y CMO de BBVA, ¿cuál crees que es tu desafío hoy en día en tu estrategia de marketing?
Platicábamos de eso hoy en la mañana, hay varios retos. Voy a empezar de una un poco más arriba y es generar confianza. Y eso se dice muy fácil, ¿no? Pero por ahí estábamos leyendo un paper hace unos años, Trust is the New Brand Equity, ¿no? De Edelman, by the way. Yo estoy convencido de eso. En la manera en la que nosotros como banco, y lo digo esto con mucho cuidado en el sentido de que somos un mal necesario, no dicho por mí, sino dicho por la gente. Entonces, si nosotros ponemos de antemano esa construcción de confianza, creo que algunas de las piezas van a empezar a caer de diferente forma a cómo hacemos las cosas hoy. Va un poco por ahí el principal reto. Evidentemente tenemos muchos retos, ¿no? También no olvidemos de que México es un país en donde el nivel de bancarización es pequeño, bueno, no mediano yo lo diría probablemente, ¿no? Falta mucha bancarización. Pues, ¿cómo vendes lo atractivo de ser, la importancia, no lo atractivo, la importancia de ser, de estar bancarizado? Tiene que tener un acompañamiento importante de educación financiera, ¿no? Porque también ayudamos a las personas o tratamos de ayudar a las personas a que tomen mejores decisiones financieras. El ser un banco también tiene cierta responsabilidad, ¿no? El tener una tarjeta de crédito, por ahí han escuchado que es peligroso. Aprendamos a usarla. ¿Cómo le sacas el beneficio? Entonces ahí ese acompañamiento se vuelve importante, ¿no? Entonces lo mantengo muy en ese nivel porque hay diferentes retos, evidentemente, ¿no? Y regreso, o sea, evidentemente queremos vender, estamos aquí porque queremos vender, pero también tenemos cierta responsabilidad en donde tenemos que cuidar el cómo transaccionamos.
Y yo creo que la educación, como lo comentaste, o evangelizar, es igual la confianza. Entonces yo creo que van de la mano.
Van de la mano, sí.
Y me quedo con confianza. Tú, Eduardo, siendo el CMO y líder del tema de nutrición en Unilever, ¿cuál es tu desafío hoy en día?
Yo creo que lo más importante es hacer que las marcas tengan un propósito, ¿no? Tú lo comentabas bastante. Es decir, hoy las marcas crecieron, ¿no? Hay de 20 años para acá se triplicaron las marcas. Y creo que algo que es importante que están buscando las personas, es decir, bueno, ¿cuál es el propósito de tu marca, no? ¿Cómo vas a apoyar a lo que yo estoy preocupado? ¿Cómo me ayudas? Independiente de vender, ¿no? Que obviamente todos queremos vender. Pero, por ejemplo, un tema, ¿no? Es decir, si nosotros hoy no cosechamos, ¿no?, las verduras, las hierbas, especies en un fomento de agricultura regenerativa, ¿no?, que significa que el suelo que usamos hoy no se desgaste y lo puedan seguir utilizando en 20 años para que las futuras generaciones tengan dónde cosechar, porque si lo seguimos haciendo como lo hacíamos hace 10 años, en 2050 no va a haber dónde cosechar, ¿no? Entonces tienes que ponerte, decir, bueno, yo como marca, ¿no? Y siendo una de las marcas que estamos presentes en 9 de cada 10 hogares en México, tengo que poner un pie adelante, ¿no? Para lograr eso. Entonces, trabajar en el propósito hacia las preocupaciones que hoy tienen los consumidores, independientemente de la necesidad que les resuelvas, creo que es una parte importante.
Y hago el match porque nos estamos yendo por los valores, ¿no? Confianza, responsabilidad, ¿no? Tú, Mitch, siendo la encargada de la marca Suburbia.
Sí, correcto. Creo que de igual manera esta parte de responsabilidad o de humanizar también de pronto a las marcas en el punto en donde estas también se vuelven significativas de cara al cliente, porque marcas de ropa puede haber, ¿no? O sea, de pronto hay pues muchas dentro del mercado, o sea, incluso pure players y marcas otras especializadas en ropa. Creo que justo es encontrar ese punto en donde nos volvemos relevantes para el cliente a través de lo que hacemos con los productos que vendemos. Mucha de la ropa que nosotros en Suburbia tenemos pues tiene que ver con toda la parte del comercio justo, algodones hechos en México, etcétera. Entonces, justo también esa es una de las tendencias que tenemos identificadas, ¿no? Que también el cliente cada vez más está preocupado, como ya lo decían, por el medio ambiente, de pronto causas que tienen que ver más con estos intereses sociales, ambientales. Entonces, justo es comunicar cuál es la propuesta de valor de la marca, pero también desde la parte mucho más emocional, ¿no? En donde logremos conectar, donde logremos ser relevante para ellos y que pues incluso para pues generadores de contenido, ¿no? De pronto los mismos clientes que de pronto de una manera pues orgánica también se van volviendo pues gente que adopta nuestra marca, que de pronto sirve para pues poder recomendarla, e incluso así se va generando pues también una cadena de valor importante para las marcas y para los consumidores.
Excelente, interesante. Y pues ahora volteo, porque obviamente pues del desafío pues vienen oportunidades, y creo que esas son las que tenemos que identificar de una manera rápida, concisa y atacarlas. Entonces, el deber de nosotros como encargados o responsables de los equipos comerciales o ventas o marketing o todo lo que va alrededor de ese ángulo, ¿cómo lo ven ustedes? ¿Cuál creen que sea en una frase o en una palabra o bullet o como lo quieran ver, su oportunidad dentro de sus estrategias de marketing?
Bueno, la verdad no quisiera ser repetitiva, pero en realidad tiene que ver mucho con encontrar a la persona correcta en el medio correcto y a través de las personas correctas, ¿no? De pronto son estrategias de, no sé, de influencers, de pronto tiene que ser una estrategia muy clara, mucho más hacia los medios masivos. De pronto también tenemos que dejar que el consumidor un poco veamos cómo es que está percibiendo nuestra marca y el contenido que genera alrededor, que también eso nos va dando mucha retroalimentación de la marca en el mercado. Entonces, creo que para nosotros tendría que ver con esto, esta parte en donde cuidamos al cliente, donde le decimos por qué somos relevantes y justo encontrarlos a cada uno de ellos en los medios ideales.
El media mix correcto, por así decirlo. ¿Tú, Eduardo?
Para mí es lealtad, ¿no? Es, ya que llegaste a tu consumidor, ¿no? Todos estamos generando penetración, ¿no? Y siempre todas nuestras estrategias está penetración, el bucket, ¿no? Bueno, ya que tenemos esa penetración, ¿cómo nos mantenemos? ¿Cómo hacemos que los consumidores sean leales a tu marca? ¿Cuál es esa propuesta, ese mix que tienes que hacen que se queden contigo, ¿no? Que te amen y que sean leales?
Lealtad, de acuerdo. Enrique.
Ya lo había comentado, confianza es lo que estamos trabajando.
Es tanto el desafío y la oportunidad.
Estamos en eso y eso yo creo que cascadea bien a todo lo que estamos haciendo. Y le agregaría la parte de acompañamiento para ayudar a las personas a tomar mejores decisiones, que tiene que ver con nuestro propósito de marca precisamente. Y evidentemente pues eso nos debe ayudar a conseguir nuestros objetivos, ¿no? Porque claro, en el corto plazo la
de acuerdo.
También.
Pues bueno, ya se nos acabó el tiempo. Creo que pues para mí fue muy rica esta plática. En resumen, lo que podemos decir es cada uno de ellos representan a marcas enormes, importantes, trascendentes y fundamentales, y buscamos que nuestros valores estén ahí pero pues ¿cuál es la prioridad? Pues cuidar a ese consumidor, cuidar a ese cliente, cuidar al usuario. Hoy en día ese es el reto principal y creo que esto se ha transformado y tenemos que revisar y ver nuevas formas de llegar a ellos. Creo que es lo principal, ellos lo comentaron excelentemente bien desde su industria, desde su perspectiva, y creo que este mundo está lleno de perspectivas, ¿no? Hay que adoptarlas, modelarlas e ir por ellas. Les agradezco mucho su atención. Sí, lo sé, ya iban las preguntas. No sé si alguien tenga preguntas para los panelistas. Iban a mandar un WhatsApp, ¿no?
Yo tengo una pregunta. Entonces, ya hablaron de los desafíos, ¿no? A ver, ¿cómo ven ustedes, está un poco lejos, pero cómo ven el mundial que viene? ¿Qué posibilidades ven ahí? El hecho de que también, el mundial de fútbol, el hecho de que también se realice en México, en Estados Unidos y en Canadá, ¿no? O igual no es relevante, que también puede ser.
Pues de pronto me parece que puede ser relevante en el sentido de que hay cierta audiencia ahí importante de pronto en el mercado, pensando en Suburbia, que es una marca mexicana que tiene más de 50 años en el mercado. Creo que de pronto es relevante por las oportunidades que también se dan para la parte de branding, para la parte también de mostrarnos como una marca que está especializado en ciertos deportes, como lo es el fútbol, que es tan relevante dentro del país. Entonces de pronto puede ser una oportunidad para reforzar la marca en esos foros.
Obviamente es importante, y no solo el mundial, nosotros, como industria de alimento, sabemos que el evento deportivo, independientemente del que esté afuera, no en el estadio, el que se vea dentro de las casas, es grandísimo, ¿no? Si vemos, no es lo mismo que se puedan tomar unas papas fritas con una mayonesa Hellmann's, ¿no? Entonces atacas esos momentos de disfrute, de ver los partidos, ya sea de la NBA, del fútbol soccer, del americano, y poder ese finger food, ¿no? esa comida, esa botana, y estar presentes, ¿no? Dándole sabor a esos momentos.
A ver, yo creo que se abre una muy buena oportunidad de entender el rol que queremos jugar en este evento, ¿no? Desde cómo se consumen los medios, que es de lo que estamos hablando, hasta el rol que podemos jugar nosotros como banco, desde apoyar a nuestros clientes a que vivan la experiencia de asistir al Mundial en México, Canadá o Estados Unidos, y hasta estar en sus hogares, en las plataformas que en su momento sabremos que se utilizarán, ¿no? Y también ver desde la marca qué rol estamos jugando. En BBVA apoyamos el fútbol mexicano con la liga, entonces también ahí se pueden abrir oportunidades de contar una historia de pronto relevante que conecte, ¿no? Habrá que ver qué historia y demás, pero creo que se abren oportunidades desde diferentes aristas también, ¿no?
Sí, Raúl Sandoval de Grupo Modelo. Entonces, la pregunta va en dos vías. Una como cliente del banco, y tocaste un punto bien importante, el momento de la vida de las personas. Creo que lo que han logrado con el app en particular es muy interesante, sobre todo en tema de colocación de créditos, particularmente la parte hipotecaria o la parte de crédito, que normalmente, haciendo un comparativo con otras aplicaciones de banco, tienes que pasar un proceso mucho más doloroso. Entonces ahí la verdad es que muy bien el user experience. Pero viene la contraparte. ¿Cada cuánto tiempo vuelves a bombardear a una persona para mantener de acuerdo al historial o al churn con una nueva oferta o con un nuevo producto de acuerdo a ese momento de vida?
Gracias por la pregunta. A ver, déjame respondértelo de esta forma. Estamos tratando cada vez de hacerlo mejor. ¿A qué me refiero con esto? Cuidamos la forma el número de veces y el contenido con el que tocamos a nuestros clientes, ya sea por email, MS o inclusive lo que aparece dentro de la app. Sí, efectivamente es nuestro principal punto de contacto y estamos trabajando en personalizarlo cada vez más, ¿no? Desde que te da la bienvenida, te manda un mensaje que te ayude a tener en mente algo, como el cambio de horario, por ejemplo, que en México sucedió y que ahí tuvimos algunos temas, ese es reciente, como por ejemplo el momento de pagar impuestos, ¿no? Entonces un poco tratando de, sin ser invasivo, porque también hay que tener mucho cuidado con la información y cómo la utilizas, ¿no? Desafortunadamente vivimos en un país en donde hay mucha inseguridad de información. Entonces tratamos de utilizar este device o la información que tenemos de nuestros clientes de la mejor forma. Y vamos aprendiendo conforme vamos avanzando, ¿no? Entonces, como buen banco tratamos de medir todo, hasta el número de veces que contactamos a nuestros clientes, los medios en los que los contactamos, y tratamos de nuevo de estar presentes con una oferta que haga sentido con base a lo que vemos en su comportamiento. Va un poco por ahí.
¿Alguien más? Bueno, si no hay más preguntas, pues gracias por su atención, tiempo, gracias a ustedes, un placer, gracias.
Qué bueno verte, Eduardo. Thank you, Mitch, Eduardo, Enrique, and Carlos Sosa. This has been a fascinating, really a fascinating talk with so many insights about what is going on in Mexican marketing from these three different sectors: retail, financial, and nutrition, which I think they complement each other very well. One of the things we like to do is provide cross-industry insights, which are very valuable to you marketing executives. So now the in-person audience is going to have lunch. You know how that works. I think that's pretty easy, and enjoy conversation with your fellow table attendees. And the virtual audience is going to do their one-on-one meetings. For that, very important that you look into your schedule, the itinerary sent by my team, and you click on the Zoom link, right? The Zoom link, not the caster link this is being transmitted on, but the Zoom link of each of those meetings. So enjoy the meetings and buen apetito. Welcome back. Welcome back to the second hour of PortadaLive of the content sessions. I hope you had a great one-on-one meetings. And we now are going to look into a topic that is advertising using data science to deliver real-world outcomes. Real-world outcomes in the form of conversions, in the form of signing up a subscription sheet or any other real-world outcomes the marketer wants to achieve. For that, we have Alejandro Lascoaga, Marketing Director LATAM Didi, also called Olas, no?
Hello guys, nice to see you. Thank you for the introduction.
And we also have Juliano Marquez, Growth Marketing Director at Scotiabank, and Alejandro Ventura, International Business Development Manager, Shutterstock. Please, Alejandro, you're going to make an introduction, right?
Yes, thank you so much. Hi guys, nice to see you. Well guys, do you know about this world of data? Now everything is related to data. So here I have some examples and some slides that I want to share with you to talk about the importance, the relevance, and the amount of data that we're collecting today in the internet and in the world. So, Diego, could you please help me play our first video?
Yeah, bro. We gotta wait till this epidemic bullshit is over. Yeah, I'll see you later in like 2 months.
Wait. Whoa, the wait. So, that's special sound effects for you guys, for free. Okay, so that was 1 minute. That was a short film awarded during the pandemic lockdown where a guy was waiting for 1 minute, only 1 minute. Do you value time? Time is super, super important, and there's a key relation between time and data. So let's see. Okay, what's happening today in only 1 minute? A slide is coming in 1 minute, of course. Okay, today in just 60 seconds. You imagine what's going to happen, okay? So, today in 60 seconds, we have 267 new babies born worldwide. But also, in just 60 seconds, 2 auto thefts are committed in the USA. And please wait for this. I was waiting to put Nicolas Cage on my slides. He's awesome, right? Okay, so what other thing is happening? 116 people will get married around the globe. And very important, what's happening in only 60 seconds on the internet. So my dear friend Diego, could you please help me with this video? Imagine that, all those data that is coming in only 60 seconds of your days. How many emails do you receive in 1 minute? A lot, right? So the key question here, and the thing we're going to talk about is, in a world full of data, it's easy to get lost. Because it's not only about the data, it's what we do with data, how we process data, and what are the final outcomes that we will receive using data. And for that, I'm super happy to welcome to the stage to Alejandro from Shutterstock and Juliano from Scotiabank to share with me some knowledge about data. Please, a big round of applause for these two cracks. Cool, guys. So let's start with a very important question. Alejandro, how do you use data in Shutterstock to optimize creativity and assets creation to deliver real-world outcomes?
Fantastic question. Thank you. So, and let me go back to your video, and let me add one stat to that video. So, at Shutterstock, for every second, 6 assets are being downloaded in the app, right? So that's 360 downloads per minute. So that's a new stat, okay? So to answer your question is, we kind of think that when you connect creativity, right, with data, you can do amazing things. And you can suddenly create highly performance and consistent campaigns that will blow with visual effects and visually will blow the minds of your audience. So I think that's amazing, and the way we are doing that is through development we created is called Predict. And Predict is a tool that lives within Shutterstock, and thank you, that's better. And that tool can actually, it allows you to take decisions not so much from your guts anymore, but based on data, right? And the way we power Predict is more on, it's by using Shutterstock AI, which is a division of Shutterstock who sits outside of the company, and it's kind of the owner of all the data we've been collecting through these 20 years of the company. But we also acquire market data in the last 3 years. And that market data plus the data we have, it's 700 billion points of data. And so we now have trends on what people search at Shutterstock, and we now have performance marketing data that we can connect through AI and computer vision and allow people who are, of course, doing ideas and creating projects and come back, put their marketing goals into the platform, search through this tool Predict, and get insights of what content is actually going to perform when they run the campaign. So the platform is going to tell you, the tool is going to tell you, this is not going to perform, this color, this design. You're actually doing the search based on your marketing goals. And you're going to be able to get those insights. I think that's revolutionary and that's amazing.
Super, and it's very connected with what we said. It's not only about the data, it's what you do with data. And there's people behind data that is looking for it, analyzing it, and delivering real outcomes. Now, dear Giuliano, tell me please, Jules, but it's Giuliano, right? Yeah, but we're in English, so Jules. I'm Olas. So Jules, please tell me, what do you value the most on data, and what are you finding in this value that helps you to deliver real outcomes to the end consumer?
So to me, it's a clear vision about the data. We have 2 types of data. We have this hard data and the soft data. So many times we look for just the hard data, look at about our stats in Google Analytics or MMP like I just, or AppsFlyer, I don't know. But the point is how we could connect, or how we do to connect the hard data with the soft data and can predict some behaviors, because sometimes we look at just this hard data and we forgot in the other side you have a human, you have a person with pain points or looking for some relievers for their pains, and the soft data can bring that to us, can humanize the data to us. And I believe this is so important to say, because today it's so common say, okay, we need the data to take advantage or take a growth leverage in the market. But when we look for a growth product marketing operation, we need empathize too with data and connect this within human behaviors too. So that's, to me, it's the way to aggregate or add some value and deliver some outcomes to our clients, because when you empathize with this data, when you put a face in this data, you know, we can understand the pain points, and we can deliver some solutions and aggregate and add some value propositions and value solutions to our customers. So to me, it's the way, like Mandalorian people say, no? This is the way. So that's the way for the growth product or the growth marketeer conduct your team or a company. And don't forget about that. People generate the data. It's so important to understand that. And people read the data. So our VS and our understand about this data generate some paths or cross paths between our experience and the experience of our customers.
Totally agree. And that's why our dear Ricardo in the morning show us that it's not only about the dashboard and the great technology and tools that you have behind, but the people that it's also behind the screen working with the data. Now, people say and people do, right? So we want to walk the talk here, guys. Please, Alejandro, share with the audience a real campaign, real content execution that you deliver to the market, to a client, using data.
Well, there's plenty. I would say probably one of my favorite usage of data is our annual creative report. We do it. We've been doing it for 20 years. So we're not new with data, right? So every search that is done within Shutterstock, every download, every upload, we process that data. We have almost 500 million assets, right? And millions of searches every day. So when that happens, we collect the data, and then we can deliver every year, at the beginning of the year, an annual trends report. So that kind of predicts what's going to happen through the year in terms of trends of colors and patterns and food styles. And so it's been available all these years at the beginning of the year. So that's basically my favorite. That what we are doing now is going deep into verticals, and we just released an ebook that is focused on CPG. So every CPG guy here in the room and online, we can connect later, and you can for free download the ebook. It's really focused on CPG. It's based on the trends we've seen all last year on the data, and I'm not going to spoil it because we did a webinar on Tuesday on that, and it's going to be released, recorded, so I'm not going to spoil it, but I'm going to say just two words. It's ESG, right, and DEI. Those two are kind of the main trends, and you know that already, but what we are saying is to talk about it, first you need to have a plan, right? You need to do it, right? But then to talk about it in a visual way, we are telling you what's going to perform, right? And that's, I'm not going to talk more because I don't want to spoil it.
And that's a real outcome, something that you can click and download. It's a real proof that you're using data. Who in the audience knew that you can download a Shutterstock report with trends, images, new things for free? Guys, come on, for free I said, so let's take advantage of Alex. So, Jules, another question. And we also talk about customer journey. Can you provide to the audience an example of what you're doing, leveraging data to enhance the consumer journey?
Yeah, totally. So, not in the bank, but in other companies I have passed, I all the time looking for understand these pain points of the customers, you know. So eventually we could find these great pain points and convert that in aha moments or wow moments, no? That depends all of data, and empathize this data, cross this data, mash up this data with NPS or an interview, a quality interview with our customers. So in the bank, a point we did in the last year, it's a digital journey to improve our customer retention. So in some point of the journey, these customers, we understand some pain points in the app, and when the people pass through these pain points, we put a trigger and we start a journey of retention, you know. So otherwise we flag this same pain point to the customer, the developer and product team, and they fix the bug. So we understand all the journey to improve our product and improve our customer retention too. So it's a simple example. You can do analyze the data and doing this mashup about a soft and the hard data. Understand the pain points and understand the churn points and how these match up to get benefits to the company or increase the retention or decrease the churn, you know. So I believe this is most fresh example or benchmark I have in my mind to say about the journey.
And I love it because we had an example of upper funnel, awareness, the attention grabbing, and then we have a very good example of retention, conversion, acquisition, again, leveraging data. Now, for the last 10 minutes, I want to ask you something, guys. And this is a story. 21 years ago, there was an 11-year-old guy, which was a robot that wanted to be a human. Who was it? Someone is recalling something? Steven Spielberg was part of this.
Terminator.
Something like that. 11 years old boy. 11 years boy. AI. Who said AI? Big round of applause for this guy. Thank you. So AI. In 21 years ago, there was a movie called AI about a child that wanted to be, a robot child that wanted to be a human. And now, we don't have robots, but we have ChatGPT, right? AI. So, talking about AI, which is a trendy word today, Alex, could you please share with the audience what Shutterstock is doing, leveraging AI that may sound contradictory because some AI tools help you develop content, and Shutterstock also develop content. But can you elaborate this a little bit?
Oh yeah, I love it. It's actually a great question. I'm not going to give you an advice on AI because I don't want to go to jail and I don't want to spoil humanity. But really, what the company is doing on AI, we started that process 2 years ago. We partner with OpenAI. It's been kind of a secret partnership. And through that partnership, and AI released DALI. DALI, you know, everyone knows DALI. It's the brother or sister of ChatGPT. And we were the company who fed DALI, who put the content to do the machine learning to create DALI. And at the same time, we generated our own generator of content, right? So if you go to Shutterstock now, you can search for content that is in the archive, or you can generate new, fresh, out of your text content, right? But there's one big difference. All of the content that you can generate at Shutterstock, it's time, right? Oh, you have a question?
No. This is a question right related to what you're saying.
Okay.
Super.
So I'll keep this for a minute.
Do you want me to read the question? Well, continue and I can read the question.
Wrap it up.
Because
so what I'm saying
important.
Is you can generate content with AI in Shutterstock, and it comes with intellectual property. It comes with rights to be used commercially. Why? Because we pay the artist who fed the machine, right, to generate that content. We keep the ecosystem running. So that's a super smart and ethical way of doing business, right?
That was super important, guys. Just not to get lost, what Alex said, Shutterstock is giving revenue to actual content developers that are uploading the images, and then they are also being enhanced and used by AI. So revenue shouldn't be fighting with responsibility. So I think that's very, very interesting, a very good practice on how to leverage AI.
And let me give you one data point. We collected through 20 years 500 million images, right? From our artists, they upload the content. In just 4 weeks, the users generated 80 million assets, right?
That's crazy. Super. I think that the question is being answered because it was what do you are delivering or offering with AI. Now, Jules, also talking about AI, how are you leveraging artificial intelligence within the business?
Yeah, it's an interesting question because I talk a lot with the table in the VIP lunch about how to use the AI or what is the use we need to do to use it in the better way or the better instance, the AI. Looking for about this moment we live in now, the AI, the prompt engineers and all this stuff, you know. I believe that the best use you can do to this tool, it's about optimize the content, you know, not just write or engineer a prompt and make the AI do the work for us, but how we can optimize our post-blogging or our copywriting in advertise and made it that a very specialized or a very interest to the engines of SEO or I don't know, ASO, and how we can provide these looking and these keywords to get a better results in organic traffic, you know, because I know I believe many people here know that today exist a lot of tools to I don't know how to say that, but we couldn't cover the AI using tool like QBot or another tool in this way. So my point is, does it use the AI? No, like a QBot to verify if that writing is about like a captcha to use in create content and that. So my point is, okay, just using the AI just to create prompts and create the entire content, it's in my opinion, my vision, it's a mistake. But using the AI to optimize our content and bring that content to the first positions in Google or Bing or I don't know, in the Google Play and Apple stores, it's a huge use I can do, and I can use the AI for that, you know. Indeed, in the bank and I know very other people in the market, in the industry use this in this way, and I believe that's the helpful way to use.
Super, thank you so much. So we only have 5 minutes more, guys, and we want to hear your questions here, live and online. But as a conclusion, I want to share 2 things. First of all, before data, there's people, and after data, there's people also. So we shouldn't forget about that. And second thing, and very important, we can grow our business responsibly. So we also hear that from BBVA in the morning. Trust and be committed with taking care of people data is super important, but as well, taking care of our content developers, creative agencies, and how we use AI. Again, revenue shouldn't be fighting with responsibility and with being purposeful when doing business. So, guys, I would like to open the forum for some questions online and also here.
Thank you. Well, if until we get some questions, I have one for Alejandro Ventura, who is obviously a senior executive at Shutterstock, a premier content partner. So how would you work, like in different ways for brand like Scotiabank, which is, I mean, it's a legacy brand if you want, and how would that be different for a brand like Didi, which is a native brand? I'm sure it depends on many things, but maybe there are some differences in the approach.
It's a pretty difficult question, I would say. I guess everyone has different needs, right? And we were born as a platform of content, and we kind of evolved from having our archive, huge archive on creative and on editorial content in all asset types. And we evolved from there, and we've been changing our business to use data, to use AI, to shoot custom content, right? We have a division called Studios. It's a huge production house. And so we can serve every customer by their needs. Scotiabank can use stock, or Didi can need to shoot a TVC, right? Or have a lot of localized content for always on. So I think everyone needs different type of content, and some will like it more local, other people will like it more, will like to make innovation on using AI, or other people would like to get into the metaverse and use our 3D content. So I think it's very, very according to the brand.
Thank you, Alejandro. And how would you, Alejandro, answer that in the sense of how you're, as the marketing director at Didi for Latin America, how your content differs perhaps from, from a Unilever, from a CPG. We have 3M in the room, we have Unilever, we have Grupo Modelo. How would you see that different?
I think that the end user is the same one, right? I can give you an example. Today, I shower, of course, and I use a shampoo, right? It was for you, Jules. So I took a shower and I used a Unilever shampoo, but then I use a Didi to arrive here, and it's the same Alex Solas, the one that is using a CPG brand and the one that is using a ride-hailing or mobility app. For me, the difference is the behavior or the usage occasion. So how to use content will depend on the occasions that you want to leverage or the occasions where you want to engage with the consumer. For example, in the morning or for a CPG, maybe we want to show the fresh air of a shampoo or a good smell. But when you talk about mobility, you want to talk about safety, you want to talk about convenience. So again, I think the consumer is the same one. We need to think about the occasion to engage with the proper content. That will be my opinion on that.
Well, thank you so much, Jules, Alejandro, and Olas.
Yes.
Glad you showered today. And I think these were, again, great insights. And now we're proceeding with a session which is about the use of MarTech, which is sort of very much related to handling these amounts of data. MarTech is a buzzword, but it really has penetrated into the marketing sector over the last 15 years and made out 20-25% of marketing of the advertising budgets is MarTech, which is a different budget, but it's huge. And what's going to be interesting is having you guys now speak about MarTech more from a perspective of how to use it, measure the ROI, skills that are needed, and so on. So I'm very happy to introduce Jonathan Scarpetta, Media Director of PepsiCo Foods, who's going to moderate the next session.
Thank you.
Perfect. Are we ready? Perfect. Hi, everyone. I'm super happy to be here. I want to be prepared with like a TV presenter with my chat of questions here.
well, let's say like a streamer, because we're talking about innovation. Maybe a Twitch streamer would be fine. And basically, we are I'm gonna ask Viviana, Ricardo, Fernando to join me on the stage. I don't want to feel alone here. And basically, we're gonna talk about how to leverage MarTech for brand growth. But I want to start talking about an important topic and phrasing a little bit Suraj on the initial topic. And Suraj told that everything starts and ends with audience. But I want to rephrase a little bit and say that from an empathetic perspective, I want to rephrase that on everything starts and ends with people. Because at the end of the day, that's the way we live. So it's important to think that way and put ourselves on an empathetic situation with people, that it's basically the people that are consuming our products or brands or services, okay? So let's start by giving a little bit of context prior to introduce our panel here. And basically, one of the most important things in terms of context is most of the marketeers are leveraging less than 50% of their MarTech stack capabilities. And there is a bunch of reasons why we are not getting the full potential of the MarTech stack. And basically, one of the most important things is that costs, okay? The second thing is super important. It's about the unleash the full capabilities. And this is directly related with understanding and the way we train the people and the teams to expand and to unleash this potential. That is the point number 3, the training, experience, and support. And last but not least, the thing of lack of integration of tools. Because at the end of the day, the capability is not, the technology is not the capability. The capability is the way we train teams and people to expand and to take the most advantage of the technology. So basically, that's our opening conversation for MarTech. And I want to introduce Viviana, from Dentsu Media, and start talking about the way we can decide and think about how to leverage at the best possible way on MarTech, but also how to train people and how to support teams to get the most, the full potential of the technological resources that we put on the table. So Vivi, what do you think about this?
Well, first of all, we have to take into account that we've seen a lot of memes and tweets where they say artificial intelligence is going to leave us without jobs, which is not true. As we've seen, and I want to take the key takeaways from all of the presentations we've seen. And I would say that, of course, there is a lot of technology and a lot of specific skills that we require. But all of the people who work in the MarTech, like from the data analyst, from the architect, the DevOps, the brand manager, the CMOs, we all have to take into this ship. And I would say we have three skills that are required from the hard part, which are data, as we just saw. And as Suraj said, like, there is no autopilot. We still have the technology, we have these amazing platforms, but at the end of the day, we need these people to learn how to work with that and also to integrate all the ecosystem. We have data privacy, we have data compliance, we have big data, we have data analysis, but we need to understand how all of these data is connected. As we just saw it, I'm not going to get into all the kinds of data we have. Also, there is the automation and artificial intelligence, which we have seen a lot today. We started with artificial intelligence for like a lot of decades. Then we have machine learning, then we have deep learning, Today we have responsive artificial intelligence, and all of this information is going to allow us to optimize all of the processes, but we need to understand a little bit more about programming, a little bit more about crawling, and all of these technical skills that allow us to optimize process, because we don't want today people like doing a PowerPoint presentation or generating like these Excels. If technology can help us, we just want people to take all of these advantage and just start taking decisions based on all what we see. And of course, all of the trends that we have from a marketing perspective, because this is a changing environment. Like for example, our amazing Gen Z, they don't use Google to search things, they use Instagram. Algorithms change all the time, and this is something that we have to work on. And also from the soft skills perspective, I would say we have to be agile, we have to be eager to learn. I mean, there is a lot of information today. We have YouTube, Coursera, LinkedIn, a lot of platforms that will allow us to give all of this knowledge.
I think that's super important, because otherwise it's gonna be like having a Ferrari without gas, you know? So yeah, I think it's super important the way we understand how to train people and how to prepare our teams to leverage on these technological solutions. But I think we talk about the entire morning and afternoon about the solutions, about the platforms, about innovation, technology. But I think there is an important topic to consider to run this properly, and it's criteria. So I want to introduce Fernando Juarez for Tech Partners, CEO for Tech Partners, and Fernando, tell us a little bit what's the criteria that we need to consider to choose between this myriad of MarTech solutions that we are looking nowadays on the industry.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, the number's just astonishing, right? And I'm very sad. More than 70%, not leveraging 50%. So that's like only 20% of people are using the technology. And the tech is there, the AI is there. It's like we're just not leveraging. And I think a little bit of what we were talking in the first panel, Mesach, Serash. There were, a few million people understanding how to program. You have to type it, and then it became when it became a window, right? And Jobs saw it at some point and introduced the Windows. It was just groundbreaking. So the first one would be ease of use, right? When you and that's why AI is here, and that's why the guys, that. Again, the same presentation, drag and drop, drag and drop. You don't need to go back and, let's say, and get this, army of Excel guys doing it. No, AI is there, and it's very easy just to drag and drop. So the first one would be ease of use, that even us marketing people can use it, right? The second one would be don't get into a walled garden. Right? It's very easy to get tricked and say, hey, here, I got all the bells and whistles, and then you cannot get your data out, right? And that's like, come on, it's my data, I generated it. So it's mine, so don't get into walled gardens. But you do need to go to to proven companies. That doesn't mean that it's the big ones, always. Yes, for sure. You got the Salesforce and Adobe's and Google's and all those guys. But even Ferrari, right? They have the best car. Well, now Red Bull. But they need Pirelli tires. They need Honda motors, right? And that is like, come on. And all of them, whoever you choose, they have to be API compliant, right? It's like, come on, let me get in, because I know that these tires or this whatever data analytics tool, push notification tool, whatever tool connects easily. It's better than you. It's easier to use, but it does add value, right? It's better when they are integrated, right? unless Ferrari starts to do great tires. But that's not their core business. No, and it's the same, right? It's like, you know, Adobe, I don't think they're going to do, you know, a great whatever thing. They don't push it. And there are small companies, smaller companies, that they're proven by Gartner, by Forrester, by G2 Crowd, that these guys are the best. And they connect to whatever I already have in market. The other one would be that it should be ROI oriented, right? And that's the two things that the companies are worth or are evaluated for. It's either they sell more stuff or they get more recognized, right? And that's the only two things that investors care about, okay? And when you're buying a platform, a MarTech solution, you have to think how much money I'm putting in this and how much money I'm going to get put in that, right? Because sometimes, okay, I like this because it's the best CRM place, or where my data is going to look more beautiful. No, okay, great, it's going to look beautiful, but what you're going to do to it, is that giving value to the company in either of those only two things the market value for? Yes, come on, do it, right? And evaluate each of every single technology that you hire or buy in those things. Is it gonna bring money back to me? So that would be.
Sounds great, and basically it's about taking some a wrap up. You know what? All these considerations. It's about context. You know, being contextualized in terms of knowing everything that I have on the table right now, and again, phrasing Siraj, you're being really popular today, Siraj. It's about
and also it is this part of the separation between MarTech and AdTech.
Yeah,
it's brutal. And I used to work at WPP companies and IPG companies, and there was, I mean, those guys in CRM or you know the IT guys were like completely, you don't even know, like you would, you know, go to the dungeon and probably they were there. And now you see how you want to get that marriage between AdTech and MarTech, which is happening. I would sit down, you know, the IT guy or whoever's in the CRM guy, just aside of the marketing guy. It's because it's just data power to take a decision to put an ad somewhere, then it's going to come back and I give it back to you, right? And that's also, you know, something that it's evolving, right? It's evolving even in the US, and I don't know how long it's going to take us here, but good to know about this panels that we can say, hey guys, just take advantage of it. Because whoever does it first is going to do it better, right? And just take the opportunity.
It's evolving, but everything starts with understanding, you know? Because if we don't understand what we are talking about, we don't get the right teams to go on or to move forward, to start developing pilots, innovation, projects, a lot of different things that we need to test prior to, you know, start working prior to run. And being realistic as well in terms of the possibilities of technology. I want to rephrase that specific or magical solution. There is no green button to, let's say, generate insights and push the button and insights generated. There's no such a thing, you know. Otherwise, we are not, we didn't work, or we are not working on what we are doing right now. So yeah, being realistic, understanding at the very beginning, and I think to map on a clear way the possibilities that we have to start trying or running this kind of solutions in terms of technology. And we will be talking about AI today as well, because it's a huge trend in our industry as well. So talking about this, I want to introduce Ricardo Rey from ABI to talk a little bit. Hi, Ricardo. How are you?
Hey, how are you?
And to talk a little bit more about the role of AI on these MarTech solutions and the perspective from your side.
Thank you so much. Adding to what everybody has said, very valid point of views and useful information. I believe that one thing that I really liked in Siraj's showcase today was the the holistic approach from the MarTech perspective that they're having, right? Right now, what we are struggling with, and we saw the data and the facts, is the fragmentation of the ecosystem and the fragmentation also of the profiles that are using the tools, right? So when we get this approach, when we understand the entire journey, I think AI is going to become really valuable for this, how to join the different dots of the ecosystem, and how I, not as a marketer, but as a businessman, the guy that is in the sales side understands how to use these tools and ask the right hypothesis, gets to leverage those hypotheses with these tools to do A/B test and to learn and to iterate. So I think we're just seeing the tip of the iceberg, and I think that the big challenge that we have right now is not us from the marketing or the data side that we're more used to these tools, but how we convince our salespersons to use these kind of tools. We have a huge challenge there, and we're driving the digital transformation ABI with these people who have who know the markets, who know the sales triggers to use the tools and to build hypotheses with us. So I think it's going to be an enabler to join and to have a commercial integration between the different points. And as a result of that, what I truly believe is that it's going to save time for each of us, right? And we need to invest this time to understand better our customers and our clients. We need to spend more time in the streets. We need to spend more time in analyzing our insights in social media, because AI doesn't work if we don't ask intelligent questions, right? See, if you're in a table with a person who doesn't understand your question, or you don't have anything to propose, you're not going to have a conversation. And it's the same with AI. If you don't have intelligent hypotheses, intelligent questions, you won't have a good feedback.
That's great. That's great. And I think that knowledge, coming from every single perspective is super important, because one of the most important things that every time we talk about innovation, technology, and all these new things, or maybe not new, but recurrent things, people talks about a lot of asking about benchmark. Okay, can you tell me benchmark from your industry, from your perspective? Can you tell us what to do? And it's probably one of the most complicated things to share, because the benchmark and the test and pilots and innovation depends on any specific situation or problem or barrier that we face as client or as category or product or service. So that's the main call, or one of the main messages coming from this panel, because the invitation is to start testing, start choosing things, start deciding from your own perspective what are you needing right now, because it's the main barrier, and what you want to test, and what you want to, and how you want to measure to learn and to start doing different things. Because you, Marcos, was talking about ROI as well. And ROI is, there's a lot of companies like super ROI driven, and other companies that say, okay, ROI is important, but maybe it's not the most important thing for us. But I think it's a balance. I think we need to start testing things and say, okay, yeah, ROI is important, but I need to have a room for innovation and to choose different platforms and technologies regarding my perspective. Because otherwise it's going to be like, the same funnel always, the same path, already walk path always. So that is like one of the most important or main messages this afternoon to you. So I don't know if we have any. Alejandra Ramirez, Beckton Dickinson says, it's common to look for as much as data as you can, but how you handle your data quality check. I don't know, Fernando, if you want to take that one.
I mean, if you don't have a data governance team in place, you're screwed. They don't want to say the F word, but you're screwed. And the English guy says, rubbish in, rubbish out, right? And you do need to have a data analytics team that curates that data and eventually get support from data analytics tools. There are many out there, right? And say, okay, let's do the most comprehensive cohorts or ways to cluster these people in order to understand it. So data governance, data analytics team with a data analytics solution.
I would add to that, and it's also having a really clear data architecture, because maybe you're receiving data from different data entry points, and those entry points don't connect with each other. So it happens a lot to us. We're getting better and better, but we didn't plan as well as I would go back in 10 years and plan for today, right? So we have to connect the dots. We have to let the data flow so that we can get better decision. And the other thing that I want to mention is that data is not a picture. Data is a living organism, right? So you have to, for example, if you have data from Ricardo Rey, tomorrow that data is old. So you have to keep updating the data and knowing your users through time.
I will also add that it's important to have the right team, because sometimes you're like, oh, you have the data analyst. He can do the architecture, he can do like the back part, the crawling. It's important to understand what are the needs in terms of data and to have the right team to develop each of the parts that are needed to understand data itself.
Sounds great, because at the end of the day, I have it. I'm prepared. Thank you, Marcos. Because at the end of the day, the name of the game is how to turn data, amounts of data, into relevant information for decision making. No, so that's an important topic. Another question is Fernando Jimenez from the HL. Could AIs optimize answers, same strategies and tactics for competing companies or products? Could jeopardize the differentiation and ultimately neutralize ability to with market share? I think it's important to consider that. I don't know, Ricardo, if you want to elaborate.
Yeah, and I'm going to go back to an article that I read yesterday in Fast Company that has a really nice issue about AI. I recommend it in this month. And one of the things that I read from the creative side, and then I'm going to tie it to the business part, is that one of the things that AI could bring to creatives is the capability of eliminating bias, because when you create, you are biased, right? And one of the examples that they put up that I really love from the creative perspective is to ask how the AI would have built something that you wanted to build, but exact the opposite, so that you eliminate the bias. So I would recommend that with the business problems also. So you have a solution, maybe the suggestion of the AI makes sense to your business, but why? But if we ask the solution, do it 180 degrees backwards, what it happens? You know? No.
But yeah, it's basically understanding and the way we use technology from coming from understanding, but with a clear strategy, you know, in terms of using this kind of technology and platforms and resources. Do we have another one? I don't think so. Anyone on the room has another question? No? Okay, so I think we're done. Thank you so. Oh yeah, we have a question.
In the past, you were working not just with AI. You were using some kind of techniques to build RFM cluster modeling. In terms of monetize the data, first-party data mainly, what would you be a high-level recommendation to use all data, activate all data, and cross with new data?
Okay, well, so we are now one Dentsu because we work with the CXM, with the creative, and with the media part, and it's important to integrate everything. Like as you were saying, like we have the IT guys apart, the CRM apart. What we're doing today is to integrate all of the data sources we have. So we need to understand what are the solutions that our clients need, what are the tools from their tech stack, what are the tools from their ad stack. We offer a DMP, a CDP, but in case you have one, we also understand, like, we do like this audit, and we understand, okay, you have first party data, you have zero party data, what are your goals, do you have an app, do you have a website, and based on that, we need to understand also if it's a global client, you know, it's a little bit more complicated, but if it's a local client and you have like the data governance, we need first to understand, okay, where are you here, where are you today, and where you want to go from another point. So what we do is to understand all of the data sources, and based on that, if you are collecting your first party data, and that's something that we recommend, you know, like with the cookieless world, blah, 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 Google is saying that they are going to go away. Like, we all have to be prepared, and we just said to our clients, have your own data. But we also work with publishers, because here is where we gather all of that data, and we try to connect everything. As you say, we have the API connections, our server to server, and that's something that we are working on. So when we serve a media plan or something, it goes with all of the integration, because, you know, the 360 consumer, real consumer journey comes from all of those data points that you get. So we just do like this analysis. It depends on the client, but we just, from the zero moment, we include each of the tech stack or ad stack that each client has to connect everything.
May I add something to that? Is that also the learning agendas and the hypotheses, because what happens a lot to us also being global structures and regional structures is that local markets are doing the same experiments as other region does, and there's no learning agenda, so we keep making the same mistakes or learning the same things, and we are not, we could avoid that. So building learning agendas is a safe way to also use the data that you're having.
Perfect, thank you so much. Just to, Fer.
Good. I can say something. It's a little bit related, but I like to say this. I like to say this when I have the opportunity to have a mic and speaking in front of my colleagues, marketing colleagues, and it says when people ask you, hey, what do you do at work in marketing, and it's like they look you down, right? Or even my kids says like, oh, you're the guy that put the ads, right, on YouTube. Like, fuck, let's get you the food on the table, kid. But so. Marketing, at least in Mexico, it's less than 1% of the GDP, right? Of the Producto Interno Bruto, less than 1%. But we are the ones that move the other 99% of the stuff. Nothing moves without us telling a story. It could be the ad on the TV. It could be a guy going to the doctor and giving the samples. It could be a trade marketing guy, right? Or whatever. Right? But it is us that makes the other 99% move. And so next time someone says, oh, you are marketing? Yes. I make that, I make things happen.
Is so much related. It's a good point. But talking about leveraging MarTech, we talk about, and just to wrap up, we talk about start with a specific barrier or need. To understand really well technology, innovation, technological platforms, or whatever we want to choose to move forward, to measure really well in terms of having a good learning agenda, and of course, to train people that is going to use these platforms or solutions that we are putting on the table. So basically, that's the most important thing to start overcoming this barrier in terms of MarTech usage. So, thank you so much.
So now we finished the content part of our event. Before we move on to the workshops in person and to the one-on-one meetings in virtual format, I just wanted to thank you again and quickly tell you a little bit how things continue at Portada. So you know, our media is directed to the needs of the brand marketing community. By the way, we will be making an exclusive recap with all the picks and all the insights from our sessions today. And we're going to send you a quick survey where we'll be also asking you what your informational needs are in terms of content. We know, as we just saw, that now there is content even generated by generative AI. We hope that the content for you marketers, the content you consume as marketers, still needs very specific curating and very specific intelligence. In fact, I am a believer in that because it's your specialists and nothing in a way is good enough because you know what we're talking about, right? So if I look at a biology article in the New York Times or in Reforma, I'm going to believe it. But if I tell you something, or our editorial team tells you something through our website or social, which is very much applied to your work, you're not going to believe it. In fact, we better not publish something than publish something that is wrong because we lose credibility. But it's a wonderful challenge to have. I love content. I love journalism. And we're now actually investing more in the offering, so it would be great to hear your feedback in terms of what it is you need. So quickly, we're now in Mexico City. We'll be in Los Angeles on May 23rd. We have the CMO of Hyundai there speaking with additional panelists from Warner Brothers. We just got the confirmation from AT&T, Director of Experiential. So it's going to be extremely interesting. We're also publishing our 20th anniversary report about marketing in multicultural America. Before that, we're publishing the Insights report on e-commerce marketing in Latin America, to which many of you actually have provided your anonymous survey questions, and some of you are being interviewed, so that's going to be extremely interesting. And then finally, we finished, so to say, the event part of the year, September 28th, with some of you as partners in New York City. We want to engage many of you who are here in Mexico, of you marketers, to possibly do one-on-one meetings on September 28th, perhaps with some of our partners here in the room, maybe others, and also have the possibility to speak to your fellow Latin American brand marketers. Maybe Laboratorios Leroy wants to speak to Mitch in Suburbia. I think they're always interesting interactions, right? So that's that. Finally, well, that's the agenda for LA, but that we'll share later. And now we're going to go again into the one-on-one meetings in virtual format, and a coffee break on the back for our in-person attendees, and that will give you also time to select from different workshops. 6 different workshops on different topics. My team will be providing some numbers so you can select the workshop. Some of you have the workshop already selected, so you know who these are, but most of you can select it. It's going to be on the screens, the different selections. Thank you so much for tuning in, the virtual audience. And if you have one-on-one meetings, please check your itinerary. You go back to Zoom, click on that link, and your meeting partner will be there. Hopefully will be there, but will be there. Yeah. Thank you so much. Bye.
I'm moving, I'm